millions it can't afford. He's written a letter to the federal government saying they should be the ones paying.
All we're saying is be fair and reasonable here, and don't try and leave the city with a $2 million, a $2 million deficit that would be unreasonable for us to pay. It's not our problem. We didn't cause the problem. We're not bringing the folks here, but we're trying to be the solution providers and provide the service that allows them to be in a place that doesn't allow community spread, that allows them to isolate and recover and get well, and go to the jobs that are so important for Canada's economy.
The federal government is pushing back. A spokesperson for Canada's health minister told me the centre was meant as a temporary measure, that the province and city, they have to come up with a long-term solution, and that Red Cross workers are needed to respond to emergencies elsewhere. Windsor-Tecumseh MP Eric Kazmierczak wrote a letter to Premier Ford saying the region is in a bad storm with 2,000 more workers expected. He also says it's up to the province to step up.
Isolation center is absolutely critical. It's a critical piece. And it's something that I've heard directly from our local healthcare professionals. This is an all-hands-on-deck approach. It's something that, again, we've been working on day and night, 7 days a week. I'm confident we're going to get this resolved. We just need the province to step up and do its part.
But the province, it's supporting Mayor Dilkens in his call for the federal government to foot the full cost.
Now, Dan, what about the workers? We know that they come here, an integral part of our system, an integral part of our community. Last year, 12% of temporary foreign workers who came to Ontario tested positive for COVID-19.
Well, we're told nearly 800 of those workers were placed in the isolation centre between June and December alone. An average of 59 workers have been staying there each month in 2021 so far. Advocates for people staying there say the centre has been a good thing generally, but one told me today that it's time to stop shifting blame.
The conversation is always who's responsible. It's not me, right? And while everyone's having this conversation, we have workers here who are getting sick very fast, and we've seen it last year. The numbers went up.
The current funding for the centre is set to end on March 31st. The city has applied to that federal government fund that would help cover the costs, but whether it will be sorted out in time and who will end up paying remains to be seen. Chris.
Thanks, Dan. CBC's Dan Takama, live tonight. Now, there's a push to allow migrant workers universal access to COVID-19 vaccines. 270 organizations signed a letter calling for protective measures so people who are undocumented will not be left out. Advocates say a lack of identification and fears about immigration authorities being called are huge concerns.
No ID information should be shared with federal immigration enforcement. It is not enough to declare that vaccinations will be accessible. Forms, policies, and practices must change so that names, addresses, or any other identifying information is not collected. These measures must be implemented at every vaccination site across the country. For over 500,000 undocumented residents, accessing healthcare can be dangerous. In recent years, there have been numerous reports, including BC's Lower Mainland hospitals, where undocumented people were turned over to immigration enforcement while accessing services.
It's been a slow rollout of the COVID vaccine in the province. We're expecting more doses next month. In Windsor-Essex, a new group of people may soon have access to the shot.
The next group of vaccination include those from the early priority, as well as the newly identified priority among the healthcare workers that belong to the very high priority group, and the seniors 80 plus in the region. As our team finalizes the plans and ensure that everything is well aligned from a legislative responsibility and the local infrastructure to support the next group to get the vaccine. I want to remind everyone that vaccine rollout in our region is still slow, and individuals in each of these priority groups will have to be patient with us to get vaccinated.
Now, Dr. Ahmed says that the 80-plus community are the people he wants to provide the level of protection they need. The health unit expects to have information available tomorrow about how that rollout will go. And he says those living in congregate settings are also involved in the next stage of vaccinations. Those that have the vaccine are still required to follow public health measures. As Windsor-Essex gets ready for the over 80 crowd, the province is providing more information about when others can expect to get vaccinated. Ontario will be weeks behind the schedule laid out by other provinces. Queen's Park reporter Mike Crawley details the new timeline.
All right, we ready?
Yeah. A senior living outside long-term care gets a COVID-19 shot today. It's a mobile pilot project at a senior's apartment building in Toronto. Unlike those living here, most of the 3 million people aged 60 and over in this province won't be vaccinated for weeks or even months. But now they have a clearer picture of when.
We will start with the 80-year-olds and over in the third week of March.
For the first time, the head of the province's vaccination task force reveals specific dates for giving shots to older Ontarians. Vaccinations for people aged 75 and older are to begin April 15th. For the 70-plus age group, it's May 1st. Those 65 and older start June 1st, then age 60 and up from the 1st of July. No dates were announced for younger age groups, for people with underlying medical conditions, or for essential workers outside the health sector.
It's outrageous. I mean, these are the kinds of things that the Ford government should have been dealing with months and months ago.
Other provinces are already poised to start their mass vaccinations of elderly who live independently. Quebec is getting a jump of more than 2 weeks on Ontario. Same goes for Alberta.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. We're far behind. We're leading the whole country. We're doing more than Alberta, BC. You combine all the vaccinations in the entire country. Ontario's doing more, so I don't know how we're falling behind on that.
Ontario also revealing today that its online portal for booking vaccinations will not be launched until the middle of next month, the very week that people over age 80 are to start getting vaccinated.
We are now furiously working to do the final stages of preparation, to test it thoroughly, and then to go live on the 15th of March.
At the beginning of March, and we're not ready. You know, it boggles my mind.
These buildings,
this doctor led today's mobile clinic and says when seniors do get the shot, they react with joy and relief.
They're really very, very warm, grateful, and happy. There's cheering, there's thanks. It's quite emotional, actually.
The federal government says provinces will receive enough doses that everyone can be vaccinated by September. Mike Crawley, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, today, 49 new cases of COVID-19 in Windsor-Essex. The health unit saying that most are coming from those working and using emergency shelters in Windsor. Currently, there's 34 cases associated with the Salvation Army. More tests coming in after reporting 9 cases total as of yesterday. There's more cases at the downtown mission, too. Now, 81 people who have COVID-19 connected to the shelter. As cases rise, work continues at the Aquatic Center, but some who may be using that facility as an emergency shelter still had no idea it would be opening.
You think it's a good thing that you're going to be moving down to the Aquatic Center then?
When's that?
Today or tomorrow.
Who said that?
They're going to close this down and move things down to the Aquatic Center.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Do you think it could get confusing for people with all the changes?
Well, I mean, in the situation that some of us are, and we're like, you know, family, we all stick together, and you know, it'll just be, it'll be no difference, really, you know, because we deal with what we got to deal with.
The city says everyone involved continues to work hard at getting the temporary site ready. Agencies involved will be communicating directly with clients. There was hope for organizers that it would open today, but the executive director of the downtown mission says it looks like it won't open until tomorrow. After a week with multiple acts of vandalism at the WeTrans building, members of the community came out to show their support today. Family of staff and local artists came to color the walls and spread messages of positivity and hope.
Today, me and my sister and my grandparents came to color onto the windows to support, because we heard what happened in the window and everything else. And I feel like myself, it's also important for others to feel loved, and we want this to be a safe place for them to come to. I am actually a part of the community too by being lesbian, by liking a girl, and as being a part of it, I just feel disrespected a bit by it, and feeling like I'm not being accepted by being here with everyone else. I want to be accepted here. I want to be able to be here without getting attacked by other people and them coming after us for doing what we would want to do in our life.
As a family, we were very upset to hear about the damage that was done, and we just want everybody to know that in this community, they're loved and accepted, regardless of their sexual orientation or their religion, you know, their nationality. Just everyone should feel welcome and feel safe here. I heard about this letter that was put out today by the Anglican pastors, and as a Christian myself, it does my heart so good, because you know, sometimes that wasn't the way that it was even 5 or 10 years ago. We had struggles within our church community, and I think now with all the education that's out there, people's hearts and minds are just being opened more.
Now, because of what happened, WeTrans planned to install security cameras after the incidents last week. That call was answered by Security One, who is now providing them with a donation of a surveillance system. We are now a week into the red zone. People are taking advantage of the services that are now available to them in person. Some businesses had to close for 2 months because of this lockdown. And while business owners say they're glad to open their doors again, some hope restrictions ease even further.
Last week when we reopened, we busier. Now we kind of bit slower, yeah. But then I hope on the future, looking forward more busy. I feel really excited to come back to work, yeah, because I miss all the clients. Yes, I'm surprised because they still like to do nail for beauty.
What's that? It's actually been really busy. We've been getting booked up from day one until today, and we've had bookings for the next week as well. Honestly, it's awesome. Like, our clients have been great with us, and they've been supporting us from day one. So it's been great.
Well, business has been good, but limited, amount of people that we can serve at a time. It's been a little bit challenging because a lot of people can't get in, and they get a little bit, perturbed about it. But I mean, we're dealing with what it is right now at this time, and we're just happy to be open.
It's actually better than the lockdown thing. People are coming here, we are interacting with more people, but like there's a limit of 10 people in the restaurant, so it's sometimes it's being difficult. We have to sometimes send customer back home. Sometimes we have to cancel the reservation thing.
Thank you, Mike. Hopefully, with the next little while, we can ease some of the restrictions and get a little more people in. Because people are tired of staying home, they all want to go out.
Another restaurant in Windsor has found a cool way to attract more customers. River's Edge Tap and Table created an outdoor bar made completely out of ice. Dale Molnar went out today to have a look before this warmer weather turns that into a puddle.
With the cold snap that we had in reopening, I just thought it would be a lot of fun. It would also too get some people, out of the house and do something a little bit different. So I ordered in 220 ice blocks, and now, a few days ago, when we had all the snow and it was very cold, it was pretty cold putting it together. But we've had a fair amount of traffic coming through because of it, and people just wanting to have that ice bar experience. So I just thought it would be kind of a fun, cool idea to create our own ice bar right here in the most southern part of Canada. It's been received very, very well. I've had a number of people that have come by just even to, take a few selfies or pictures with them and their friends, just to send to other friends or on social media.
I think it's a unique, phenomenal idea, and it gets us out because we're tired of being inside, and it's just great to be outside and enjoying something unique and special with
friends.
Great friends.
And we also have lights like right inside the bar as well too, so that the ice bricks illuminate. Hopefully the bar will stay around for another week or so, and the sun and the warm weather doesn't beat it up too bad. Cheers, guys!
Cheers! To the ice bar. Awesome.
It's pretty amazing innovation here in Windsor. Unifor says workers at 4 factories have voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate. Local 444 says 99% of its members at Ivanka's, Dakota, HBPO, and ZFTRW have voted in favor of walking off the job if negotiations fail. All these companies supply parts for the Stellantis assembly plant in Windsor. Unifor's decided to negotiate and hopes to reach a deal that will be a pattern for other plants. Windsor's budget process is done, but there's still a nearly $38 million deficit that's expected to cost Windsor for the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021. Administration plans to aggressively ask the provincial and federal government to cover that off. Here's a look at what happened last year. The federal and provincial government did step in. $37 million that covered off COVID-19 costs for last year. Last night, we heard Councillor Fred Francis say it would be a nightmare scenario if higher levels of governments don't come through this year. Tonight, we hear from Windsor-Tecumseh MP Eric Kuzmarchuk asking the former Windsor councillor how the federal government can continue to cover the costs of this pandemic.
I feel very strongly we'll be able to help out again this year and be there with our municipalities, and that is something that I'm advocating for very strongly in caucus and with ministers.
But not just for Windsor-Essex, you got to do this across Canada. People asking for more. We see budgets like Toronto. We can imagine Ottawa, places like Winnipeg, where they've really had to deal with these types of issues. How do you find the money to support all of these municipalities without creating big changes from the federal front?
Well, you know, the funding has to be there. It really is an all hands on deck approach. It has to be a Team Canada approach. All levels of government have to come together, work together as a team. That's the only way that we're really going to get through this difficult period, is if all the levels of government work together and pitch in. But again, being on that council side, I absolutely appreciate the funding crunch that my former council colleagues and both the mayors are under, and we'll be there to support them.
That idea of having partners across all levels of government, did the city do the right thing by not leveraging the tax base that they have, by not increasing to have more money for the services they want to offer?
Well, you know, I'm not going to weigh in on that. You know, that is no longer sort of my purview as a city councillor. That is up to the mayor and the city council to make that decision, along with the consultations that they've had. And I know that they were extensive with stakeholders and residents and constituents. But I will say that our federal government has been there from day one. And, you know, I just want to emphasize that in terms of funding for COVID supports, you know, 97 cents of every dollar for direct COVID supports during the pandemic has come from the federal government. And so what municipalities can count on is a strong partner in Ottawa that's going to be there. And that's something that not just the municipalities, but the residents and businesses can count on. They have a strong partner in the federal government.
Now, if you stepped outside today, you certainly felt that warm up. A lot of us looking forward to spring now, and that usually comes with festivals. But already, a county event has been called off. The town of LaSalle has canceled its Strawberry Festival, council making that decision last night. Now, the event normally happens the first weekend in June. There is a commitment to bring smaller events and alternative activities to the community. We'll take another live look outside there. You can see the ice. Amazing to think how the Detroit River was covered, and now you see it all start to break up. The Ambassador Bridge there in that picture too. Love the tower cam shots. A little windy today though, so I'm happy that we're still sticking on top of that. Colette Kennedy is going to join us next with a look at the forecast. So nice that we're going to do it twice, taking you back to Lakeview Marina for more foul video. Susie sent this in. You can tell that it's warming up out there because you can just see how fast they're going. That's another bad joke. We're going to keep the video up here. We're going to bring in Colette. Colette, I've slowed this video down here because I feel like if we tried, we could count them. We could put a number on there, I think, eh? Isn't it just delightful to see like Mother Nature in action?
And the way they don't collide, like they need traffic lights, I would think, but they know.
Yeah, organized confusion, a lot like this office.
It's very hard to, yeah, exactly. It's hard to count them. I've got bird feeders on my terrace, and they come, and I start counting. I start at the tree, and then I go over towards it, but they move. They don't just, they fly around. It's hard to count them, but I got to 45 one day. So, yeah, very spring-like, all these things, right? And certainly the temperature puts us there. If you're wondering, though, let me just show you the record high. Now, this one's been around for 60 years, so we came a little bit close, but not really. And also, the record snow on ground, 20 centimeters. And of course, what do you get when you get all this mild air coming in? A lot of melting instead. So the daytime high today, we're rounding up to that 11, but it was double digits, 10.5. Pretty incredible, some of the numbers. Right around 3 o'clock that happened, which is also when the southwesterly winds turned more westerly, and then the temperature has been falling off. So we dropped in just a couple of hours 5 degrees from where we were, a little more than that, in fact. 4 degrees now for Chatham, Kent, and let's take a look at some of these winds. The sustained winds are between 20, 33 kilometers an hour, and our gusts, they don't look that dramatic now, but we've been seeing them this past hour. The gusts have been up there in the high 50s, so near 60 kilometers an hour. That carries on this evening, and then those will be backing off. Yes, some of the cloud cover, a chance for a few really spotty showers, but mostly we're going to just be seeing the clouds peeling away and getting into some sun. Overnight Thursday night could have the odd flurry, and then the next round is coming Saturday, but the timing of this, I'm putting most of it through Friday night into Saturday morning so that I think we'll actually dry out Saturday. So we're going to have many days with some nice conditions. Now, tonight, get used to a little cool down coming back, a little wake-up call, -7, 2 degrees tomorrow, Leamington, 1 to 2 degrees there. Friday, 3 with sun, so a couple of days with sunshine. Saturday, that rain again, Friday night into Saturday. But look at those numbers. I think those ducks will be having some fun with those.
No, absolutely. Bad news for the ice bar, though. Thanks for this, Colette.
Yes, you're welcome.
Now, for the first time in her life, Terry Jenkins is wishing that winter would stick around. She recently started giving horse-drawn sleigh rides at her stables near Chatham. She's making money, and she's making memories. That's next. 'tis the season to hear this. Sleigh bells ringing out at a horse farm just outside of Chatham. TJ Stables started offering sleigh rides to paying customers last weekend. You can see them popping across your screen now. One of the owners says it's been a much needed financial boon after being locked down for much of the past year. She's hoping that the snow will hold out.
Oh, this is the first time in my life I've wished it would stay cold. I was going to sell the sleigh last summer, but I thought, oh, who's going to buy a sleigh in July, right? So I'm glad I didn't. It's supporting the horses, let's put it that way. Almost 6 months of lockdown. The horses still eat. They don't know it's COVID. They just want their supper.
Now that sleigh there can hold 4 adults or a family of 6 with children as long as everyone is in the same bubble. A lot of us getting extra use out of winter this year, considering what we've been through. That is it for CBC Windsor News. You can go to our website, cbc.ca/Windsor, for more on these stories. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The Rick Mercer Report is up next. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.